All right, time to check out the California weather forecast. It just started raining, at least on the central coast, about an hour ago, and you can actually see that on the radar pretty well. Looks like there's some heavy rain over San Francisco. I was seeing some alerts popping up that there was maybe some special marine statements. That means you have some thunderstorms with a little rotation in them. The potential for some, what do you call it, water spouts. Then also some lightning activity. So I'm most likely seeing a little flash flooding around San Francisco as well with all these heavy rain rates. So we're going to look at the warnings. We're going to look at how long this rain is going to last. And the models were actually pretty good about picking this up. It said we were going to have another band of moisture move through this afternoon into this evening. And right on cue, it looks like it's there. It looks like there could be a little thunderstorm activity just southwest of Fresno right now as well. So, zooming out, it's almost two separate sections that we're looking at. So, this will make more sense when we look at the satellite imagery. But we had the low spinning up here. That brought the system in on Sunday. That's still pulling some moisture in. That's where this rain over San Francisco to the central coast is coming from. But then we do still have the remnants of that atmospheric river down in Southern California. So we'll have to check the Southern California forecast as well, because it looks like we have some heavy rain down there. That might be causing some flooding as well, and it looks like there's some even heavier rain about to move into Long Beach. So I mentioned the satellite imagery. That's always kind of the best way to see what's going on here. And it looks like we got some good satellite imagery to work with. So you can see the remnants of the low spinning up there. The storm itself has kind of fallen apart, but even last night, we could see some moisture off of the coast, well off of the coast, that was going to get pulled in by that low. And that's what's over the central coast right now. And then right there, perfect imagery of the atmospheric river down in Southern California. Check out the continental sector. It could be cool to see the wide view of this. Yeah, look at that river right there. At one point, it was stretching all the way to Hawaii when it was kind of more directed at the central coast. Now it's shifted a little bit more to the south. It looks like it's weakened, but over the Southern California, they're definitely getting that moisture right now. And then it looks like there might be a little something on the horizon as well. So yeah, we'll have to look to see if there's more rain on the way after this system. This water vapor imagery is pretty cool too. Looks like there's a lot more water vapor out there. There's that river. Some people don't like the term atmospheric river just because they think, oh, we used to call them storms. What's all this nonsense about atmospheric rivers? But it does look like a river in the atmosphere, and it can transport as much water as the Amazon River, and then when it bumps up into your coastal mountains, that water vapor rises up, it condenses, turns into rainfall, and then ends up filling your rivers. So I think the first thing we should do, or we've done a couple things now, but the next thing we should do is look at some of the warnings, because there's a lot going on in California. Is that a red flag warning in New Mexico? That's interesting. Huh. But yeah, we're going to focus on California here. We'll go Bay Area, then Central Valley, then Sierra, and then we'll go down into Southern California. Sorry, Southern California, but I'm NorCal to my core, so NorCal does come first. Looking at the flood watch, though, that's from the North Bay through the Central Coast. And let's see, that's through Wednesday morning. So that the timing on that has stayed relatively consistent through 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Yesterday, when I saw that we still had a flood watch through Wednesday, I was thinking, is that really necessary? It seems like the storm is basically wrapped up. And then the model started picking up on the fact that it was going to pull in another band of moisture, which is exactly what's going on outside right now. And the soils are already saturated, so any rainfall that does fall can absorb into the soil, so it's pretty easy for it to just turn into flooding. And yeah, we do have a flash flood warning. If I zoom in, it looks like it's right over San Francisco. And then where we have that green color, that's where it's hard to tell. I think most of that green color is a flood advisory. And then you might have some of those squares that are the flood warnings. So first thing we should look at is the flash flood warning for San Francisco, because that means that flooding is no longer possible. It means flooding is currently occurring, and that's until 4 p.m. What time is it right now? 2:43. So they're expecting more of this rainfall to continue. Doppler radar indicated heavy rain across the warned areas. Between 0.2 and 1 inch of rain has fallen. Additional rainfall amounts of half an inch to an inch are possible in the warned area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. And the source was the radar. Small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, as well as poor drainage in low-lying areas for San Francisco and Brisbane. That's always a good one, too. You've probably heard this, but turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. So we have the flash flood warning over San Francisco. Now let's check out, I think this flood warning is not going to be as widespread. Let's see where, does it say where? Portion of Northern California, including the following county: Sonoma. That's until 10 p.m. tonight. And small stream flooding caused by excessive rainfall. And then what about this widespread flood watch? That one's, I think we saw through 10 a.m. on Wednesday. And yeah, there's lots of cities in there. I'm certainly not going to read all of those. Excessive runoff may result in flooding of rivers. I like the additional details a bit more. Zoom in so I don't have to squint so much. Periods of moderate to locally heavy rainfall will bring the potential for minor to moderate local flooding, as well as rapid rises along area rivers, streams, and creeks across the region. Although most main stem river sites are forecast to remain below flood stage, minor flooding in urban areas and along smaller creeks and streams is expected. So that could be NOAA River Forecast Center. Just want to check Google and their pop-ups. I just want to check to see if any of our rivers are in their flood stages. Right now, it looks like there might be a few near flood stage. That's where you have yellow on the screen. What is that? Sacramento River at Rio Vista Bridge. Yolo Bypass at Lisbon. Looks like we have one that's minor flooding up to the west of Chico. Sacramento River at Ord Ferry. I think it'll start showing them on here. Oh, it just went up into the minor flood stage. The blue on this is your observed river levels. The purple is going to be the forecast river levels. And then the colors represent the flood stage. So yellow is kind of action, so that you're supposed to monitor it. Orange is where you get into minor flood stage. Red is where you're in moderate flood stage. The good news on that one, that's Sacramento River, is that it's supposed to be peaking right now, and then it's going to start coming down. But yeah, that's also happening a little farther north on the Sacramento River. Keep going north. Oh, it went up into the minor flood stage. Now it's starting to come down. Expected to keep going down. And yeah, it seems like that's the case on the Sacramento River as you continue to follow it. Looking at San Lorenzo. Yeah, look at we had the storm Saturday. You can see the bump. Well, let's just click on it. I'll make this big for you. So there's the storm Saturday. I shouldn't even call it a storm. It was a system. And then Sunday's rainfall leading into Monday. And then there's the little bump with this system today. Although I'm going to keep an eye on it just because if the river levels are already that high, it doesn't take as much additional rainfall to quickly make the river rise again. So one thing we can do is check out how much rain has fallen at this point. Let's go precipitation. Wow, yeah, San Francisco already seeing a half an inch right there. Around an inch. I believe that's near the airport. An inch. I wonder how fast this has fallen. Because the rain just started here in Santa Cruz. So I would be surprised to... So that's showing precipitation rate 0.27 inches per hour. Precip total 0.95. And one of these is going to show precip. It's this one, but why is it showing 30 inches? I don't like that graph. We're just going to abandon that one. And I want to check the Central Coast. So decent amount for San Francisco. Looks like the North Bay is also around a half an inch to an inch. What about Sacramento with some of that river flooding? Some spots around a half an inch, but a lot of these are actually around 0, which is because that band of moisture that's over San Francisco right now hasn't got there yet. And then we've seen a half-inch fall in the Santa Cruz Mountains. And let's just go down and check Southern California. 1.8 up in some of the higher elevations around LA. Looks like a half an inch to an inch. So, yeah, that makes my job easy. Pretty much everyone looks like you're half an inch to an inch at this point, unless that band of new moisture hasn't reached your area just yet. So we've looked at the flood watch. High surf advisory, is it still there? I think that's until 10 a.m. on Wednesday. High surf warning was canceled. Some waves 10 to 14 feet. I did look there. There's definitely some larger waves out there, and that's for San Luis Obispo County beaches and Santa Barbara County beaches. It seems like it is coming down on the coast here. Although there was only maybe 3 guys out. You wouldn't really want to be out there. It was pretty windy. So let's just check the forecast summary. I think we got an idea of what's going on with the warnings. Flood watch, flash. Is it a flash flood warning? It was, wasn't it? Let's see, because that's the most important thing. I probably should know exactly what it was. Yeah, flash flood warning for San Francisco with some of those heavy rainfall rates. All right, forecast discussion. Rain showers and isolated thunderstorms will continue into this evening before gradually tapering off Wednesday morning. Dry conditions are expected for the remainder of this week. With unsettled conditions returning by Saturday night. This weekend's rain appears to be beneficial and not overly impactful. So that's a pretty good forecast. Originally, I think I'd seen that we were supposed to get more rain as early as Friday, which, you don't want too much rain back to back because if your soils are saturated, there's nowhere for it to go, and then it just turns into runoff and some flash flooding like what we're seeing now because we had rain Saturday, then Sunday, then Monday. Now, what day is it today? It's Tuesday. Yeah, that's right. I always get flipped around because I work weekends. But now it's saying the rain's holding off till Saturday, and then it's not going to be a big storm. So we'll look at the maps on that one in just a moment. First, I want to check out what's going on in the Central Valley. 15 to 35% chance of thunderstorms, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Rain forecast, half inch to an inch. So what's over San Francisco right now is going to spread into the Central Valley, although it was saying a quarter of an inch to a half inch for San Francisco, and it's been overperforming there. So you can perhaps expect it to overperform elsewhere as well. And then snow forecast, not much, maybe 6 inches to another foot. Although I did see Rob Maeda said that the snowpack conditions have improved with the last 2 systems this weekend. I was interested to see how much they'd go up just because it's kind of a warm storm. And it looks like northern Sierra is right on track. Percent of normal, 99%. Central is at 81%. South is at 78%. So the state is now at 85% of normal for our snowpack. So that's way up. I think Rob Maeda was saying in January we were around 25%. So that's been quite an improvement there. I mean, rain is obviously not good when it leads to flooding, but this is, I'm always thinking about wildfire season. So all this rainfall that we've been picking up, and while there have been some systems that have led to some bad flooding, we're currently seeing some flooding. We've also had a decent number of systems this year that were mostly beneficial, which doesn't always happen in California. We're more used to like what happened last year. That was exceptional what happened last year, but that is the more typical pattern for California where you get a lot of your rainfall in just those big atmospheric river events. So storm reports, we don't need to read that. Looks like they do have a flood warning. Looks like that's west of Orville. widespread flood watch. That's going to be flood watch remains in effect through late tonight. Periods of moderate heavy rain, lines of showers and thunderstorms moving across the region. And then up in the Sierra, we have, looks like the winter storm warning has just turned into a winter weather advisory. That goes along with the snow forecast that I was showing. Not that much, and it looks like it's also not that widespread. I think it's still decently warm out there. The southern Sierra still has the winter storm warning, though. That's showing it'll expire at 3 p.m. this afternoon, so maybe 7 minutes, that winter storm warning will be gone. What about the winter weather advisory? That's in effect from 10 a.m. this morning to 10 a.m. on Wednesday. Now let's check out the forecast discussion. Just read the quick summary here. Another day of active weather, isolated thunderstorms, precipitation in the valleys and foothills, mountain snow. Showers and mountain snow taper off tomorrow, with dry weather expected Thursday, Saturday. And then I think we'll do NorCal first, and then we'll go down into SoCal. So let's actually just one more time look at the radar, see where the rain is right now, and then look at some of the maps to see how long the rain's going to be sticking around. So this is pretty heavy rainfall. You can see from San Francisco to San Leandro. I should know how to say that. I've lived here my whole life. Looks like the heavy rain is moving in over Oakland, Fremont, San Mateo. Most of the central coast looks like it's moderate rainfall. I can kind of attest to that, although we did have that one brief little period of heavy rain move over Santa Cruz. I was actually on a walk when that happened. Cut the walk short. So that's our rainfall at the moment. Now let's see how long it's going to stick around. So I probably should have logged in before I started this video. Let's go ECMWF. I like using the euro. Seems like that's usually the more accurate model. Let's go to the model run where we can click through more of the slides. So that one's all the way full. And then let's go to local NorCal. All right, so that's going to be close to where we are right now. Rainfall moving in. You know, I have to say the euro doesn't seem like it's picking up on this band of moisture all that well. That's 1 p.m. That's 4 p.m. It's not seeing that much of a difference, and it's not showing heavy rain. And then you have the snow move up into the Sierra, so that's kind of interesting. I'm curious to see if the GFS is doing better with this one. So that's 1 p.m. No, GFS didn't really have the heavy rain moving in either, and we're certainly seeing some heavy rain out there. So I could say that it's overperforming the models, which is interesting because it's throughout much of Sunday it was underperforming what was going on. So that goes through. Maybe I'm also kind of generalizing just based on like one little flash flood warning. Overall, I was seeing a lot of green on the radar, which means these models are pretty good. So let's go into 7 p.m. It already looks like it's kind of moving out of the Bay Area, although there's still some lingering showers there. By 10 p.m., it definitely diminished. Still the periods of heavy rain for the Central Valley. And then snow definitely up in the Sierra. Now we get into 1 p.m. tomorrow. It's actually showing more rain chances than what the models were showing originally. So maybe another band of moisture is going to get pulled up by this low. And then by 7 p.m. tomorrow, seems like Northern California has really started to dry out. So that's interesting. That's actually showing a bit more rain than what I was originally seeing for Wednesday. It looked like things were going to taper off on Wednesday more so. And then that's what it's showing for not as much on Saturday. Like the summaries were saying, that's more, seems like Sunday there's a little light rainfall coming through. Mostly beneficial, I'd agree with that. That doesn't look like a big storm on Sunday. Maybe a little something bigger coming in towards the end of February, but nah, we're not going to go that deep into the models. Don't trust a forecast more than 3 days out. Beyond that, it's definitely subject to change, especially this year where we have all these cutoff lows. The models are notoriously bad at forecasting those, and unfortunately, it seems like that's been what most of the systems have been this year. So that's why I might be covering for weather forecasters out there, but it's been a difficult winter, and I wonder if it's mostly because the strong El Nino we have. Maybe there's only been a few El Ninos in our records that are this strong, and then you train models on past data. So maybe there just hasn't been enough data to train the models on, so they just don't really know what to do. It's just like if you're playing darts. If you practice throwing 10 darts, you'll get a little bit better, but then you're still not going to be that accurate. But if you practice with 1,000 darts, then you're going to train yourself a lot more, and then you're going to be more accurate. Same thing goes for the models. This winter, it seems like we're in that 10 dart scenario because there just haven't been many strong El Ninos like this. Whereas in a more typical year, that's where the models are quite good. And I can't be too hard on them. I'd say they have been decent. So San Francisco expected, the forecast models do seem to be underestimating this current band going through, because it's saying 0.4 for San Francisco, but we've already seen 1/2 inch to 1 inch. So you might be able to bump up some of these Central Valley numbers as well once that band finds its way into the Central Valley. And then looking at snow, that goes along with what the National Weather Service was saying. 6 inches to 1 foot. Looks like it'll mostly be in the higher elevations. All right, so now let's do the same thing, but for Southern California. So just summarizing Northern California there and Central Coast. Rain over us right now. Still some heavy rain over San Francisco. We have a flash flood warning there. We have some flood advisories throughout the North Bay, stretching down to the Central Coast. We have widespread flood watch basically for everybody. And then that band of moisture is going to be moving into the Central Valley, and it's already been overperforming with some of this heavy rainfall that we have, so might still be overperforming by the time it moves northeast. And then the rain is expected to continue into Wednesday, but it looks like it's mostly light to moderate tomorrow. Not expecting as large of rainfall totals, so that's why the flood watches will be expiring. And then things clear up for much of the rest of the week. The next chance looks maybe towards the end of the weekend, but that one's going to be mostly beneficial rain, so not much to worry about there. Now coming down into Southern California, that's where we have the atmospheric river. I'm curious to see what category atmospheric river they're giving it. Right there you can see it streaming in. That's actually a pretty good shot right there. And Southern California has been, we looked at the observations, they're around 1/2 inch to 1 inch around Los Angeles. Now let's see what they're expecting. Yeah, some of those forecast models are showing 1 inch, 1.5 inches. And then I think that's supposed to be marine and surf hazards. Seas 10 to 15. I'd imagine they have a high surf advisory. Yeah, where you see that purple is the high surf advisory. Flood advisory from Santa Clarita to Anaheim. Let's check out the timing on that. Flood advisory in effect until 4:15 p.m. this afternoon. Minor flooding caused by steady rainfall is expected. Moderate steady rainfall was expanding over most of Los Angeles. Peak rain rates of 0.25 to 0.5 inches per hour will affect areas of the county, and some locations will experience flooding, include but are not limited to Long Beach, Malibu, Burbank, Pasadena, Los Angeles, Santa Clarita, and Culver City. Okay, and then you have that widespread flood watch as well. Most of California seems to still be in a flood watch at this point. Then the LA office always does good summaries right here. So a Pacific storm will continue to affect the region through Wednesday morning. Periods of rain will cover Los Angeles and Ventura counties into early tonight, while a few showers should affect San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara counties. Showers and scattered thunderstorms will sweep through the area tonight and Wednesday morning, bringing a renewed threat of flooding. Dry weather with warming temperatures are expected to follow on Thursday and Friday. Oh, it's getting a little warmer. That's nice. Yesterday in the central, or 2 days ago in the Central Coast, I think it was, we had some 70s out there because of all that southerly air that was getting pulled in. And then unsettled weather may return by Sunday. So I'd say the most interesting line here was scattered thunderstorms will sweep through the area tonight and Wednesday morning, bringing a renewed threat of flooding. So let's see if that's showing up on the models for Southern California. Right there. So that's close to what it looks like right now. That atmospheric river just pulling in moisture. So as you get into 4 p.m., looks like some potential for heavy rain through San Luis Obispo. And then, maybe. So you get into 10 p.m. tonight, 1 a.m. tonight. Still some light rainfall. And then looks like things really taper off tomorrow morning and tomorrow. Still the chance for some lingering showers out there, but it looks fairly light at that point. So there's still the potential for some heavy rain, even some thunderstorms. And I believe on the radar we were seeing some heavy rain already down there and off of the coast of Southern California, just getting ready to move in. Yep, that sort of fell apart, but it looks like there's some decent rain over Anaheim right now. And then that should start to bring a little more rain down to San Diego. As we're seeing in this model, that's 1 a.m. on Wednesday. Some periods of heavy rainfall, and then, seems to fall apart by Wednesday. So let's see how much rainfall they're expected to get. Yeah, that goes along with what the National Weather Service was saying. About 1 inch for Los Angeles, 1.5 inches for Riverside. Oceanside, 0.7, San Diego, 0.6. And then up in San Luis Obispo, you see a little of that kind of blue to purplish color, which would be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches in very select locations. And then I wonder if we're getting any snowfall down there. Yeah, getting some snow. Southern Sierra, another 6 inches to 1 foot. Their winter storm warning is about to expire, though. And then, I always forget what this mountain is. Somebody commented on it in my last video, but I forgot what they said. That, in the very higher elevations, you're in the pink there, which is 6 inches to 1 foot as well. So now I want to see NWS hazards, regional. So widespread flood watch is in the green. The purple is your winter weather advisory. The pink is your winter storm warning. And then if we zoom in, San Francisco is in that flash flood warning as of right now. And it doesn't show the coast, but there should be a high surf advisory down there as well. Now there's something that I want to see. There's, here it is. So it's SPC outlooks. So let's go day 1. I don't know if there's any, less than 2% chance of a tornado. The National Weather Service, I think yesterday, was saying there were some tornado chances, but, and actually we did have a tornado warning in the Central Valley yesterday. I'll be curious to see if it actually touched down or if there was anything like that. So let's just look at it this way. It might be easier. Day 1, that's your storm prediction center. So that should be today. And then day 2 moves down, maybe just more over San Diego. Looks like it's basically gone for the rest of California. And then day 3, it's gone. And then after that, it looks like we're in the clear. So looking at it one more time, that's today and that's tomorrow. So that's a quick, easy way to see that things should start clearing up pretty soon here. All right, so what was the gist of what we talked about? We had 2 systems come through over the 3-day weekend, the one on Saturday, the one that moved in on Sunday. Sunday was the stronger of the 2. Overall, it wasn't too bad, at least for the Central Coast. Mostly beneficial. The winds were around 30 to 40 miles per hour, so we didn't have nearly as many trees down. Maybe that's because the last storm already took down all the weak trees. But right now, we are seeing some heavy rainfall off the coast of Southern California. That should be, and we already are seeing around half an inch move in there. The heaviest rain that we've seen, though, is, or has been, over San Francisco. That's had a flash flood warning. Notice, though, as this goes close to the end, it looks like that band is already starting to move off. So that's just in however long I've been talking at this point. We're already starting to see that drier air fill in behind it. Looks like it's still stretching down through Big Sur. Maybe that moisture is still going to get pulled in, and then obviously this band of rain is going to move into the Central Valley next. And we do still have some heavy rain out there. It looks like it's directly over Oakland now, but starting to clear out from the South Bay and even the Santa Cruz Mountains. So that didn't last very long, but we did pick up some decent totals already, around ½ inch to an inch. Let's look at it. I'm curious to see how much the San Francisco totals went up just while I've been talking. Yeah, you're seeing a lot more. That's pretty similar to where it was. 1.26, that looks to be the high. And then most other places between ½ inch and an inch. Finally, I want to see Santa Cruz Mountains around 1/4 inch to half of an inch. Okay, so rainfall should still be out there tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to be fairly light to moderate. Good news is it doesn't look like there's that much of a risk of flooding on our rivers. That was more so on Sunday, although we do still have some flood potential out there through Wednesday just because the soils are so saturated. The Sierra, another 6 inches of snow to another foot of snow, just a winter weather advisory for most of the Sierra though, so not as bad as some of the other storms that we've had to deal with so far this year. And then it looks like things are going to be drying out through the rest of this week. Maybe a little something towards the end of the weekend, but it looks like if we do get rainfall, it's going to be light, mostly beneficial. So, yeah, we got some rain right now. California obviously needs some rain. If you're in one of the flooded areas, definitely don't try to drive through flooding. As we saw on the National Weather Service earlier, it said most people who do die in flooding, they're in a vehicle. So that's good to know, but then it's also, I'd say, nice that things are going to start drying out. We've been doing this little roller coaster back and forth this year where we'll get some systems come through, brings some rain, and then it dries out, helps our rivers come down, helps our soils not be as saturated, and then the next round of, don't know if you call them storms, but systems comes through again. Hopefully that just continues until our snowpack is back up to 100%. I'd say it's encouraging that it's at 85%. A lot of our cities are now above average in terms of our rainfall in the year. I think I heard some cities in Southern California might be around their record for February. So with the additional rainfall moving in today, they're going to get closer towards that record. That's something that I'll definitely be watching. But I think that's probably enough of me talking. If you're just joining the live stream and you don't want to go back and watch the whole thing, I put together a little short form video. I'm going to record that right now, and I'll basically try to explain the most important things that we just learned in a minute or less. I'll throw some visuals of the maps on top of it too, so stay tuned on that one. I'll probably have it posted within the next hour, and hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully you stay safe out there, and maybe have a nice cozy day, make some soup, read a good book, stay inside, because the rain will be tapering off tomorrow, and then we'll be drying out after that. So have a good one. Thanks for watching.